Natalie Burton. Welcome to the second show in the third series of Keeping Up with Champagne Lady. Yes, I am Champagne Lady. That's my nickname and my business. And I hope you can keep up with me as I travel New Zealand introducing my champagne jacquard to restaurants, supermarkets, liquor outlets and bars. My biggest pleasure is meeting lots of people and giving you the chance to enjoy this beautiful champagne. But before we go any further, just a little bit of history about my champagne jacquard. Suffice to say, it's the real deal. Its origins are the French Champagne region, centred around Reims, 144 kilometres northeast of Paris. As I said last week in episode 1 for the new series, a bright idea popped into my mind. What about Queenstown? It's looking lovely this time of the year in its late summer glory. Plenty of bars and restaurants to get their first visit from Champagne Lady. I'm taking along my good friend Amy Preble from Women's Weekly and my IT expert Alex. Gotta feed the Facebook beast. It's insatiable. It was going to be just one episode on Queenstown, but whilst we were there, we met so many wonderful people and went to so many fabulous places, we've extended it to 2. This week in our second episode, we also took a quick visit to Arrowtown. I did a bit of shopping. And we visit one of Queenstown's busiest galleries, the Central Art Gallery, where we meet Julia Milley. I also catch up with one of my favourite winemakers, Alan Brady, from Wild Irishman Wines. But now on with the show. Just a quick recap from last week. Here are some of the people we spoke to. Jim Bolt, the Mayor of Queenstown, had a delightful chat to Jim. My TV show, which we're on right now, is called Keeping Up with Champagne Lady. Do you think that Queenstown is a champagne town?
Well, you're from Auckland, aren't you?
Yes.
Right, so I'm the person who figured out what Jaffa means. Just another fabulous Auckland.
Oh, I was glad to hear that.
Yes, because it is a great champagne town. It is the place where people like to come and have a good time.
Well, that's great. Well, I hope you'll go and buy some of my champagne jacquard when you next see it on the list.
Count it done.
Good, thank you. Well, thank you so much for having us, Jim. It's been a real pleasure.
You're welcome, and welcome to Queenstown.
Thank you. We'll enjoy it. Jim told me that the city has a permanent population of 30,000 people. But every year it's visited by 2.9 million tourists. Wow, this place is on steroids. Also, I had a great chat with Bonnie from Bonds, right in the Queenstown Mall. What a super store. What I didn't mention was that after our wonderful dinner at White and Wong's, we snuck out to some of the late night bars and clubs of Queenstown. My favourite was Bardot. We had a wonderful time. Slowed us all down slightly the next day. But Amy more than me, I have to say. I've had more practice. But I told them I'm coming back tomorrow to introduce my champagne jacquard. So next day, we met up with Jack from Bardot. I'm just thrilled that you've got jacquard on the list.
Yes, so am I. It's going to be...
Bardot is my absolute favourite bar, I have to say. Every time we come down here, we have all these ideas of trying out different places, and we always end up back here.
That's only a good thing, isn't it?
It is. And the music, it's so much fun. And I'm glad to see that these glasses have been perfectly polished, so we've got wonderful effervescence. Thanks, Jack. Thank you.
There you go.
What is so special. Cheers,
Cheers.
Jack. Here's to the future.
Cheers.
Here's to lots of sales of jacquard.
Cheers.
The last thing we want is a champagne that's difficult to drink, because we want to sell lots of it.
Very easy to drink, yeah.
He loved my champagne jacquard. Thank you, Jack. Well, work's done for the day. It's now time for a dash of culture. The Central Art Gallery in Queenstown. On the website, it says an outstanding gallery with fine and contemporary art by new and established New Zealand and international artists. And what a wonderful, comfortable, friendly atmosphere. In fact, we were visited whilst we were there by a famous and brilliant artist, Ben Ho. I particularly liked his art. He had some wonderful paintings of beautiful little sparrows, and like me, he feels that those little sparrows are equally as important as the native birds that everyone is always talking about. Such delightful little creatures with expressive faces. He did a wonderful job of them. Julia and I are both cat lovers. She runs the Queenstown Cat Rescue, and in fact that's how we first met. We know each other originally, Julie, purely through our love of cats, don't we, and the wonderful work both of us do in cat rescue and de-sexing and so on. But, you know, when I came down last time, I thought, well, I'll just catch up with you. Never actually met you in person. And when I came into the gallery, the Central Art Gallery, I couldn't believe it. The huge number of the most gorgeous, stunning works of art. And I thought, we've got to get you on my show.
Oh, thank you, Anne.
So it's just wonderful. So tell me, how did you get into this and how long has it been going?
Well, this is one of New Zealand's oldest privately owned galleries. It's only one of them, there's many, but this is one of them. I believe it's been here over 40 years. I've been here 26 years. It first started actually, I just walked past one day and I walked in and there was this beautiful painting on the floor of a pink rose and there was water dripping off the petal, and I remember getting on my knees, and it was by an artist called Ben Ho. Amazing local artist. Well, he was living in Auckland then, but he's living here now. But just incredible, and the guy that owned it back then, Barry Wills, asked me if I wanted to cover for him at lunchtime, back in the day that, you know, people off the street, you know, can you cover the shop for me? I sold a great big painting and he said, how about staying on? And so 26 years later, here I am.
Oh, for goodness sake, well, it's absolutely marvellous. I must say, I mean, this one here is absolutely
That is a Ben Ho painting. That is gorgeous.
Really?
That is gorgeous.
He is so talented.
He is very clever. I mean, there's some amazing artists in here. Some of them, unfortunately, I don't have in here to show you. I've sold out of them, like Mark Rogers and Dale Gallagher. But there are some incredibly gorgeous local artists like Graham Brinsley and Mark Thomas, Richard Wilson, who's only 30. Beautiful works there. Tanya Varent. Yeah, that's Richard Wilson. Just beautiful. Gorgeous landscapes.
The light on the water is just magnificent, isn't it?
No, they are. They're just incredible. So it's 7 days a week, 12 hours a day. So you don't really go far when you own art.
You certainly don't. I remember last time when I came down, there were these beautiful works of art with little sparrows in it, and I love sparrows. I mean, they're the most underrated birds.
That was Ben Ho again.
Oh, really? Oh, talk about it. How different is that?
I know. He's incredibly versatile, and he's actually coming in here in a moment to bring a painting in, one of his latest paintings in here.
Oh, great.
So
I'll get to meet him.
So you will get to meet him very shortly. Yes. So.
Well, that's great. Well, you've organised that very well.
Well, we'll let you judge.
Yes, it's gorgeous. How many people do you get going through who are tourists who buy? I mean, do you export a lot of art? Or?
I do. I send art overseas every day. I mean, every day, on a good day, I sell 4 or 5 paintings anyway. 70% would be overseas. The other 30 is probably Auckland, Christchurch, Wellington. Basically, it's it's busy.
So if you're always dealing with sort of a captive market that are already here, they've already got their paintings, the people who've got a bit of money and decorated their homes, they've probably already bought what they want and their wallets are full, but like us. But, you know, when you've got people coming through all the time, you've got this ever flowing, it's a bit like a river of people coming through. And
well, there's 93 artists I've got in here, and there's over 2,000 paintings, so it's there's a lot of art in here. Yeah.
That is amazing, and it's not only pieces of art. I mean, it's
the sculptures, Olivia Duhamel, Richard Wells. I've got some lovely Miranda Kidd pieces back there. Beautiful Ross Jones work. Gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. No, there's some beautiful works in here.
And we also got to meet a famous artist, Ben Ho. Wow, I loved his paintings, in particular the ones with all the little sparrows. He had a great philosophy on them, same as my own. Yes, come and sit down, join us.
Nice to meet you.
Yes, you too. We've just been talking about your fabulous art. I was particularly taken with the one with the horse and this gorgeous lady here.
Oh, thank you.
Beautiful, quite different pieces of art. It's great that you're so. And I hear you're the one with the sparrows as well. I love sparrows.
Yeah, so am I. I love them very much.
They're beautiful.
And first of all, to catch my attention is birds. When I sit in the cafe, have coffee, they have, always ask me the food. You know? And the expression in the face is really like.
I agree with you because I get very upset actually when people are only interested in the native birds and they profess to really love birds, but it's only the native ones. The other ones, they'll go out and kill
Yeah,
them.
yeah,
and
yeah.
They don't care at all about them, and that's not right.
No.
Yeah.
I love them all.
Yeah. So am I, you know. Any bird, I love them. Sometimes I do Kias and two is kingfisher, yeah.
They're beautiful.
I got one that's in there, you know, the king. Oh, is it that one?
Oh, yeah,
that's
the
a
kingfisher up there, yeah.
I do all kind of bird, but I do mostly is the sparrow more than the others.
I've just
yeah.
sold out of all the sparrows, so
Oh.
I just sold the last one
You must
yesterday. It
send
was
me
big.
information on
I
the
will,
next one,
absolutely.
because
I'd be
and now that
gorgeous.
I've met Ben,
Yeah, he's great.
even more reason.
So I leave you guys.
Oh,
and,
thank you, Ben.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
Yes, you
Yeah.
too. We'll
Yeah.
meet again, I'm
Thank
sure.
you for dropping
Okay.
that piece in.
Thank
That's
you.
great.
Yeah,
Thanks.
Thank you
thanks.
very much,
Yeah,
Ben.
See you later.
Bye-bye.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
bye. Bye-bye.
This is a big job, Julia. It obviously takes a huge amount of time. Now, have you got other people in the family interested in the art?
My grandson Shane loves art. He's up here somewhere, Shane.
Well, I noticed a young man. Oh, there he is. He's waving out there.
He's great. He
Oh,
helps
good.
out some weekends. And,
Well, I have to say, you must have acquired a huge amount of knowledge about art. I mean, I know what I like, but to be honest, I don't know very much about art. But I'm sure working with it for so many years, it's just, you must be a fountain of knowledge.
well, it's a bit of a live and learn. I don't know. I started off at 19. I had an antique and art shop in Invercargill, and I guess it progressed from there. But yeah, there's always someone new coming on the scene. There's some amazing artists out there.
And the rest of the time is taken up looking after the animals.
Well, the
And
cats.
saving the pussies like me.
Exactly, Anne. Exactly. Yes.
You're a woman after my own
I
heart. We've
know.
still got to keep fighting for the lives of our cats.
I think we've rehomed and de-sexed over 1,800 cats since
Wow,
then.
that's great.
It's a lot. It's a huge job. It's grown a lot. The cat rescue from back then there was only a handful of us, and now there's probably 30, 40 people fostering. And
I think that's one of the most important
Yeah.
things that we can do.
Yeah.
And you're probably a bit like me with your gallery, with me
Yes.
with the champagne.
Yes.
All money I make goes on
Well,
saving the pussies.
as I say, 7 day a week, 12-hour day, and most of the profits go on the pussycats.
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh,
they
you're
do.
right.
But you know what can you do?
Exactly.
It's,
You're a woman after my
yeah.
own heart. Well, I have to say, Julia, it's absolutely wonderful to see you again, and great opportunity to have you on the show. So
Thank
everybody's
you.
going to know what an amazing gallery you've got down here,
Thank you.
Central Art Gallery. What number are you on Beach Street?
71 Beach Street.
71 Beach
Yeah.
Street. Very, very well located.
Yeah.
So, it's a
Well,
fantastic
I'm
art.
open 7 days a week, so if I'm not here, which is pretty rare, ring me.
See you, and I'll see you next time I'm down.
Absolutely, yeah.
Bye.
Okay. Bye.
Central Art Gallery is one of New Zealand's oldest privately owned galleries. You will love it. Thank you, Julia. I do hope if you are in Queenstown, you can pop in and say hello. If not, go to www.centralart.co.nz and say hello to Julia from me. One of my close friends on Real Housewives of Auckland is Michelle Blanchard. Michelle said to me if I was visiting Queenstown to visit a great retail outlet called Slow. Interesting name. Slow is also in Beach Street, Queenstown. The website says it's an online store and experiential showroom in the heart of Queenstown. What does that mean? All brands at Slow are handpicked for their core values. Plus, and a big plus, they have a cafe attached. I like that. I must be careful here. It's not a cafe. It's a coffee studio. I had a lovely cup just before I spoke to co-owner Sunny.
Well, it's a bit of a long story, but to make it easy for you, it's all about bringing back the retail experience so that customers can come and enjoy, touch and feel, and remove from the internet world essentially. So we set up the retail store and the Nordic-inspired furniture so that people can come and touch and feel and experience.
That's the only way to do it, really, isn't it?
Yes, yeah, and it's been working really well. We've kind of have a really good balance between the whole foods and mainly plant-based and vegan, and also our sustainable and ethical fashion too, which is really important to us. We value that when people are going to purchase things, they'll have the garments in their wardrobe for a very long time. So we would want customers to be able to buy once and buy well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, they all look like beautiful fabrics too, gorgeous fabrics. So some of the designers you've got, which ones?
We have New Zealand labels that you would know. Masa, she does classic shirts. That's going really well, and Best Studios. So we do support New Zealand as well, but we've also brought in brands that we feel New Zealanders can relate to. And especially down here, we have quite a casual aesthetic because people are outside a lot, and
Yes.
with the temperatures and things like that as well.
They certainly are.
Yeah, so we do have a lot of sustainable knitwear from Denmark. So it's, yeah.
And fantastic coffees, I might add. I really
thank
enjoyed
you.
that, thank
Yes,
you.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Sunny. It's been great coming in, and I have to say I love that Nordic furniture. It's beautiful.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, Martine is very clever with her interiors, so we do a lot of that as well.
That's
So,
great. Oh,
yeah.
thanks very much,
No
Sunny.
problem.
Lovely to see you.
You too.
Thank you, Sunny. Great shopping with bricks and mortar as well as online. The shop is called Slow. It's in Beach Street, Queenstown. Can't miss it. Look them up at www.slowstore.co.nz. Welcome back to Keeping Up with Champagne Lady. One of the rare privileges we had when staying in Queenstown was the opportunity to stay in this magnificent home with a grand piano. Nobody could play the piano. What the hell, that didn't stop us enjoying the spectacular views, the glass walkway that gave you the willies, the ingenious taps that delivered water, the 80-inch TV, the barbecue and spa pool, fabulous bedrooms, all with en suites, plus the kitchen and dining facilities. It was wonderful, the dream home. If you'd like to stay in this magnificent home, call Charlie at +61 418 755 388 or email him at clob365@gmail.com. Have you been to Arrowtown? Everyone has that question when you visit Queenstown. Have you been to Arrowtown? Now I can say yes. It was in the car and off to Arrowtown for lunch at Rosie B's. Then shop, shop, shop till you drop. Just what I love. Amazing. Our cameraman said, how many more shops can you physically visit without dropping dead from exhaustion? But we girls have stamina when it comes to shopping. One lovely surprise was a couple of street musicians drawing good crowds listening to their delightful and soothing music. It's a new form of guitar called the Chapman stick. You don't pluck the note, you simply press it. It's like playing a piano on a guitar. What a great soundtrack for Arrowtown. If 2.9 million people visit Queenstown, I have the feeling they all head for Arrowtown as well. Great crowds, loving Arrowtown. Amazing, fantastic. Welcome back to Keeping Up with Champagne Lady. Our special guest on the show tonight is Alan Brady, a fantastic man who I consider to be the father of the wine industry in Gibston Valley. I caught up with him in Central Otago. We had a fascinating conversation. Well, Alan, what a pleasure to see you again after all this time.
Lovely to see you, Anne, yes.
Yes, I've been coming here for quite a few years now, haven't I?
Well, as long as I can remember, and go back a long way in the wine industry.
Yes.
So, yeah, both of
Oh,
us.
it's lovely.
Yeah.
I was just thinking, I remember you were one of the first people I saw when I started selling the wine barrels.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just thinking, though, you had already sold Gibston Valley, hadn't you, at that point?
I think so. I had just started Mount Edward,
Yes.
and that was when I first started using your barrels, and that would be 1989-90.
Gosh, is it that long?
Or maybe
Time
a
does
year or
fly.
two after that.
Yes.
But that was the Mount Edward era for me. That was my second
Yes.
winery.
Well, why I wanted to get together, apart from catching up with you anyway, was because I thought it'd be great for all the viewers to just learn a little bit more about Central Otago and how it all came about as far as the wine industry is concerned. And you are the person to tell us about it.
Well, I was one of the pioneers. I don't like to be known as the pioneer because there were a few of us at the time and we'd each discovered each other. But it was the early 1980s, going back a long way. And at the time, Central Otago was believed to be too cold, too far south, inhospitable for grapes. Most of the experts that we consulted were in the North Island, and they said, forget it, you can't grow grapes in Central Otago. You can grow grapes, but the fruit won't ripen, and there will never be a wine industry. But we were pretty stubborn, and a little bit arrogant, I think, and naive as well. So in my case, I planted a half-acre plot with about 12 different varieties. Fortunately for us, I also planted some Pinot Noir.
Just as well.
And,
God forbid if you hadn't.
And Pinot Noir put its hand up almost immediately. It grew easily, and when we got fruit after 2 or 3 years, it ripened, and ripened consistently for several years, and we really got the idea that Pinot liked it here. And if you remember, back in the mid-1980s, which we're talking about now, there was very little Pinot in New Zealand. Martinborough had just started, the Wairarapa had just got off the ground. It was really flying under the radar of most New Zealand consumers at the time. So our timing was great. We were in on the ground floor of the Pinot revolution, if you like, and look at it now, it's the second biggest variety in New
incredible.
Zealand.
It's just unbelievable when you think how it's transformed the wine industry.
It has, really.
Your vines, now we are here at Kinross Cottages and we're in the lovely bistro where I know your wines are sold. It was pretty close to here, wasn't it? Just up the road, really, at Gibbston, that you planted the first
Gibbston
vines.
Valley was the first block in Gibbston for Pinot, and about the same time the Mills family were growing grapes in Ripon, which is now a leading winery in this region. Blackridge in Alexandra.
Yes.
And one or two others.
Well, a far cry from being a journalist and film director and things like that you were doing.
Yeah, it was a total shift for me. And, you know, an amazing number of people in the wine industry today have come from different backgrounds. They've fallen in love with the romance of wine.
Yes.
And it is an industry that is a romantic industry and appeals to people for that reason.
You know what I think, though, the vast difference between you and a lot of the people who are moving into it now is that it's sort of a ready-made industry for so many wealthy people who just want to buy in and enjoy the fruits of other people's labours, whereas you and these other people you're talking about have been the ones struggling at the coalface to actually find out what's the right vines to grow and get it sort of going. And there's a big difference between just sort of walking in and being nice and easy.
That's the history of the wine industry everywhere. If you look at Bordeaux, California, other wine regions around the world, the peasants, if you like, and we were happy to be known as peasant wine growers. They're the people who prove that the industry is viable. And then the second wave are the people from the city who have capital to spend, and we need them.
Yes.
You know, I was told in the early days, if you want to make a small fortine, you start with a large one.
Oh, yes.
And build a winery. How true
I think
that
they
is.
still say
Yes,
that, don't
yes.
they?
So we have, we've had in Central Otago, we've had some really good investors, and many of them are people who want to be hands-on. So they have the capital and they have the romantic ideals as well. So we've been lucky in that sense. We're still a small region, and we're largely family-owned wineries.
Yes, because I know in so many areas you get a winemaker who will start off with all the passion and enthusiasm and so on that you did, even though you weren't a winemaker to start with, but you want to be in there hands-on. And then as the businesses grow and become larger, all of a sudden you find you're just doing the admin role, and all the pleasure of what you originally started with is dissipated because you've just got the stress of selling and marketing and running the operation, and you think, hey, what happened to my pleasure and the dream I had at the start? And I suppose that's why in the end you sold out of Gippsland, which you developed, and then got a smaller one and started up again, and here we are again with Wild Irishman
I'm scaling
wines.
down, yeah. Well, that's very true, but I had so much fun doing all of those different levels. At Gibson Valley, I had the idea, I planted the vines, and I needed investors and capital to build a winery, and I ended up being the CEO of a fairly large wine business, and I never became a winemaker, which is really what I had set out to be.
Yes.
I had a lot of fun doing what I did, and I hired a very good winemaker, Grant Taylor, who's now has his own.
Oh yes, I
label down
remember
the
Grant. He used to
Valley.
buy a lot of my barrels, and now he's jolly
Yes.
well left, and he doesn't.
Oh, well, I'll have to tell him that.
You have
he
to
need-
sort him out.
he needs some more of your barrels. But no, I built Mount Edward so that I could become a winemaker, hands-on winemaker, and I designed it as a small operation, a one-man operation. Well, of course, that was a bit naive as well, because it needs more than one person to run a winery. So, but I did become a winemaker, and I've been making wine now since 1999.
Where are you making the Wild Irishman wine?
I make some of the wine at Coal Pit Winery up at Gibson, up
Yes.
the back road at Gibson, where a lovely couple from Auckland, Mark and Rosie Dunphy.
Yes, we know them.
Yes.
Yes, they're lovely.
And so when I became an orphan with no winery, having sold it, they said, well, if you want to make wine, come use our winery. And I had helped them out with their first vintage. So I'm very lucky to be able to make some of my wine there.
Yes.
And this year I'm making wine at Valley as well, Grant Taylor's winery in Cromwell.
And I love it. I love the whole story behind it. And thank you so much, Alan, for taking the time to
Pleasure.
chat with me and going through my first little interview that we've done ourselves using my new camera gear.
Well done.
Yes.
Hope there'll be many more.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Alan. It was wonderful to catch up with you again. Hope to see you next time. Finally, it's time to leave beautiful Queenstown and head back to Auckland. But just before we set off for the airport, one last lunch at Queenstown Botswana Butchery. Botswana is located in Queenstown's historic Archer's Cottage with spectacular lake views. It offers a sumptuous menu full of flavour, and it's consistently rated as one of the town's most popular restaurants since opening in 2008. The mission: introduce this restaurant to Champagne Jacquard. Well, job well done. Another restaurant taking on board Champagne Jacquard. We're off to the airport, back to Auckland. Fabulous visit to Queenstown. So bye-bye for now. See you next week. Cheers.